Vairāgyam jihāsvaya darshana shravanadibhihi dehadi brahmana paryante yanitye bhogavastuni. Tat, that, vairagyam, detachment, jihasa, the desire to give up, ya, those, darshana shravanadibhihi, seeing, hearing, etc., dehadi brahma paryante, from the body of a mortal to Brahma, he, indeed, anitya, transient, bhogavastuni, in the objects of enjoyment. Vairāgya, or renunciation, is the desire to give up all transitory enjoyments, from a human body to those of Brahmāhood, having already known their defects from seeing, hearing, instruction, etc.
Namaste. So, Vairāgya, renunciation. In an alternate translation, it says Vairāgya is revulsion from all things seen, heard, etc., from all transient objects of enjoyment, beginning with the body and up to Brahma. So, until we become revolted by the insignificant objects of enjoyment in the material world, up to and including being reborn as Brahma, we don't have full renunciation. Why? Because all these things are transient. They're non-eternal, asat. So they can't give full satisfaction. They don't have the qualities of sat, chit, and ananda. But just failing to meet any one of those three is grounds for rejection. And in this case, in this verse, it's being expressed as asat. Asato ma satyam gamaya. Lead us from the asat to the sat, from the untrue to the true, from the non-eternal to the eternal. Because why? These objects of enjoyment are all limited. They all have a beginning and an end. But you might say, well, if I give up these objects, then what am I going to enjoy? If you say that, you obviously have no real experience of the self. Because to be in knowledge of the self is the most enjoyable thing. It's unconditional. It's eternal. It's the truth. Whereas all these other things are basically a lie and non-eternal. They're a lie because they're Maya. And in the previous verse, we discussed how Jagan Mithya. Mithya means it's neither existent nor non-existent. It can't be qualified or classified as either. So, what else is to be taught as a reason for Vairāgya in a person who does not feel Vairāgya after experiencing the impure, foul smells of his own body? Even as the joys earned by karma here decline, so too elsewhere the joys earned by punya also decline. When the stock of punya of those who have gone to the celestial worlds decreases, they are born on earth again as mortals. All those who go even to the Brahmaloka are bound to come down to be born here again on earth. Because whatever is not the biggest, all-inclusive Brahman is inferior. So not having tasted the superior joys of Brahman realization, one may think erroneously that whatever kind of small, insignificant, imperfect, limited enjoyment I can get here on earth is still, something, right? No. Anything you're enjoying here on earth is a result of karma. And anything you might enjoy in a future life, let's say in heaven, is punya. These are the fruits of action. And the fruits of action are non-eternal because they're created by cause and effect. And cause and effect needs time, space, and so on. In other words, the whole basket of material qualities. So they are unreal. They are not to be relied upon because they will go away. Just try to understand. Why should we work so hard to enjoy these little pittances, temporary, imperfect, limited enjoyments, when we could be enjoying Brahman, which is unlimited, eternal, and pure? Not mixed enjoyment, pure enjoyment. But until you get a taste of that, it's hard to believe that it could be true. I know. That doesn't make it any less true. So try to understand what the scripture is saying here. In the womb, in the midst of his mother's urine and feces, the baby, the unborn baby, whether human or other animal, suffers like anything, the bites of worms and so on in the womb. And then when the fetus is born, he will not get Vairāgya because he's thinking of those in heaven. Oh, maybe I can do punya and get into heaven. On the exhaustion of their punya, with their limbs shattered, are made to fall down in the form of stars, meteors. So those who are cruising around in space, trying to enjoy the heavenly layers of reality, have to come crashing down again to the earth. And there's so many shlokas, oh my God. The effect of performing Chaturmasya sacrifice is permanent. We drink the soma, we are immortal. But this means immortal within the bounds of the manifestation. And the manifested universe, even if one gains immortality within it, eventually comes to an end. Then what? Everything is finished. The world itself goes away and is absorbed back into Brahman. So there is no escape from this conundrum except for realization of Brahman. What does it say? Whatever is effected by action is impermanent. Whatever we have gained by karma, we will also lose when that karma expires. Simply a matter of time. But the joy of Brahman is not subject to time. It's not limited by space. It's not bounded by cause and effect. It doesn't expire because it is fundamental, eternal, without any need of support from anything else, not dependent on anything else, not subject to cause and effect, in other words. But it simply goes on and on and on, forever, without change. People say, well, doesn't it get boring not to have a change? That's very foolish. Because what could be boring about perfection? What could be boring about all-pervading bliss, eternal consciousness, and the realization of joy from one's own self, without any need for external objects, without any need for a process, or even an instrument of knowledge to perceive it? but unconditional, eternal, perfect joy. Is that enough to make you give up the material world?
Tat Sat Om Shakti Om